My name is Judy Jones. I'm 37 years old, and for most of my life, I've been the person my mother could rely on, not out of love, but because I made things easy for her. The dependable daughter, the one who never questioned, never pushed back, never asked for more than the bare minimum of respect. I wore that role so long it felt like skin. I didn't realize how suffocating it was until the day it finally cracked. It happened on Easter morning. My kids, Lily and Mason, had spent the entire week making a handmade Easter basket for my mom. Lucas, my boyfriend, had been helping them every night after dinner. He'd sit at the kitchen table with them, sleeves rolled up, showing them how to glaze sugar cookies without breaking them, how to swirl pastel colors on eggs, how to keep glitter glue from exploding everywhere. They even made drawings, one of our whole family standing under a rainbow, another of a ridiculous smiling bunny that Mason insisted looked just like Grandma. They were so excited they could barely sleep the night before. By the time we walked into my parents' house for brunch, the basket looked beautiful, almost too perfect, like something staged for a magazine. The dining table was set for 10. The smell of cinnamon rolls drifted through the living room, and my dad was pretending to read his newspaper in the corner, though he hadn't turned a page. Jenna, my sister, sat on the couch, scrolling her phone while her daughter tapped her feet against the leg of the chair. No one really looked up when we came in, not until my kids ran forward. "Grandma, we made this for you!" They held the basket out with both hands, faces glowing, waiting for her reaction with the kind of hope only children have. My mom barely glanced. Her eyes flicked over the eggs, the cookies, the drawings. Then she said it, flat, quick, like she was brushing lint off her sleeve. "Don't turn this into a pity display." The whole room shifted, a quiet so sharp it felt like glass filled the space. Lucas froze beside me. Melissa, his sister, stiffened. The kids' smiles dropped instantly, like someone unplugged them. My mom turned back to the stove as if she hadn't just crushed them in front of the entire family. I took the basket from my kids and set it gently on the table. I forced a smile, the kind you wear when you're balancing on the edge of anger, but your children are watching and you refuse to fall apart in front of them. No one said a word. Not my father, not Jenna, not the cousins who suddenly pretended to be fascinated by their phones. I looked at Lucas. He didn't need to say anything. I nodded toward the door, and we gathered our kids and left without a single goodbye. The drive home was quiet, except for the small voices in the back seat asking what pity display meant. Lucas told them it was just something Grandma said that didn't make sense. I didn't correct him. I couldn't. Not yet. 3 days passed. I was folding laundry when I got a text from Jenna. "Why did you lock the account? We can't pay." I stared at it for a long moment. For months, I'd been helping her. Quiet wires to cover rent, daycare, groceries. After her divorce, she'd been drowning. And my parents, for all their speeches about family unity, didn't lift a finger. I did it because I chose to, because she needed help. But the account was in my name. And after Easter, I closed it. I replied, "Thought you didn't want to show." She didn't answer. That evening, someone pounded on my front door so hard the walls rumbled. I opened it to find my mother standing there, cheeks flushed and eyes blazing. "How dare you abandon your sister like that?" she shouted before she even stepped inside. "She is a single mother, Judith, a single mother. She needs your help." Lucas came out of the hallway, silent but watchful. I let my mom rant. I had heard every version of this speech throughout my life. Duty, sacrifice, obligation. Except the burden of those noble words always landed on me, never on anyone else. When she finally paused long enough to breathe, I said calmly, "I'm not responsible for supporting Jenna. I helped her because I wanted to. I don't owe you my finances, Mom." She jabbed a finger toward me. "You embarrassed your family at Easter, walking out like that over a simple comment? Everyone thinks you're dramatic." "It wasn't a simple comment. You humiliated your grandkids. They worked all week on that basket." Melissa stepped out of the kitchen and stood beside me. "It was cruel," she said quietly. "And now you're here demanding more from the people you just hurt." My mother's head snapped toward her like a whip. "This is your fault. You're poisoning her mind. You always have. Judy isn't the woman she used to be because of you. Honestly, the kids shouldn't be around you so much." That was the moment something inside me hardened, not broken, set. "Mom," I said, "you need to leave." Her mouth curled in disbelief. "You're selfish, you're ungrateful, and don't expect us to help Jenna now. We won't." "You never did," I said. "That's the problem." I opened the door. "You can come back when you can treat Lucas, the kids, and Melissa with respect." She stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the picture frames. For a moment, the house was silent. Then the messages started. Relatives calling, texts full of accusations, cryptic Facebook posts accusing me of turning my back on family, people repeating her twisted version of Easter. I realized that if I didn't speak soon, my kids would grow up hearing a story where I was the villain and she was the victim. So I made a decision. Next Sunday, I was going to her house. Not to apologize, not to negotiate, but to tell the truth where she couldn't twist it again. The air in my parents' house felt different the moment I stepped through the doorway the following Sunday. Not colder, not warmer, just heavier, as if the walls themselves already knew a storm was coming. Lucas was beside me, steady as always, and Melissa stood just behind us. My kids stayed home with a sitter. There was no way I would let them witness what was about to unfold. My mother was in the living room with Jenna, my dad, and two of my aunts, all of them arranged like they had been waiting for a performance to begin. My mom didn't bother hiding her glare. "If you're here to attack me, Judy, you can turn right back around," she snapped. "I'm here so the truth doesn't get twisted anymore," I said. "We're doing this in front of everyone, so nothing gets rewritten later." Jenna shifted uncomfortably. My aunts exchanged glances. My dad looked at the carpet as if hoping it would swallow him whole. My mom let out a dramatic sigh, the kind that begged for sympathy. "There's nothing to discuss. You overreacted at Easter, and now you're abandoning your sister." I didn't let her finish. "No, we're starting with Easter. My kids spent an entire week making you a handmade basket, and you told them not to turn it into a pity display." My mom's eyebrows lifted in mock confusion. "I never said that." "You did," Lucas said calmly. "We all heard it." Melissa added, "Your grandkids heard it. You hurt them, and instead of apologizing, you doubled down." My mom's face twisted, offended that someone dared contradict her. "You're all ganging up on me." "Typical." I ignored the bait. Then 3 days later, Jenna texted me asking why the account was locked. "I stopped paying her bills because I'm not your bank account or your stand-in parent." One of my aunts opened her mouth, ready to defend my mom, but Jenna spoke before she could. "Judy helped me," she said quietly. "A lot, more than anyone. I never asked Mom to confront her about it." The room froze. My mom swung toward Jenna. "Why are you taking her side, after everything I've done for you?" "What have you done?" Jenna's voice cracked. "You talk about helping, but Judy is the one who actually shows up." Aunt Marlene murmured something about Easter being a misunderstanding, trying to smooth the edges like she always did, but Melissa stepped forward. "No," Melissa said. "This isn't about Easter. This is about years of control. Years of putting Judy on the hook for everything, while Jenna got praised for simply existing." My mom exploded. "You don't get to come into my home and insult me. Judy didn't act like this before you came around. You've changed her, and not for the better." Lucas's expression didn't shift, but his voice was ice. "She changed because she finally stopped letting you walk all over her." My dad let out a slow breath. Maybe your mother did go too far," he said, eyes still fixed on the floor. "Maybe she should apologize, at least to the kids." My mom's head snapped toward him as if he'd betrayed her on national television. "So now you're on their side too?" He didn't say another word. She grabbed her purse, her face twisted into something unrecognizable. "You want the truth? Fine. Stay away, all of you. If you don't like how I run my family, then don't come back." She fled to the hallway, muttering under her breath, slamming the door behind her so hard the frame shuddered. Jenna hurried after her, leaving a swirl of tension in her wake. Lucas let out a slow exhale. Melissa rubbed her forehead. My aunts murmured something about everyone cooling off, but I knew it wasn't over. My mom never ended anything quietly. She ended it loudly, dramatically, and then found new ways to escalate. 2 days later, the escalation came. Melissa answered a call from the kids' after-school program. When I walked into the living room, she was frozen with the phone pressed to her ear, her face tight. When she hung up, she just looked at me for a moment. "A relative reported us," she said, anonymous. "They said the kids are in a tense home environment because you stopped supporting a family member. They even mentioned the Easter basket." The blood drained from my face. It was too specific, too familiar. She wasn't done with me, not even close. I grabbed my coat. Lucas didn't ask questions. He just picked up his keys. That night, I stood on my parents' porch again, breathing in the cold air. When my mom opened the door, she looked annoyed, not guilty. "We need to talk," I said. "If this is about Jenna, I'm not—" "It's about the phone call you made to the kids' program," I said. "The anonymous report, the lies about Melissa, the manipulation." For the first time, she hesitated, only for half a second, but I saw it. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her tone defensive, her eyes darting just slightly. "But you didn't deny it," I replied. Her silence said everything. "You ever interfere with my kids again," I said, voice low and steady, "and you will not see them. At all. Ever. I'm done playing your game." I turned, leaving her standing in the doorway, her face pale with something that almost looked like fear, but not for losing me, for losing control. The next morning, my phone buzzed. "Jenna, we need to talk." Jenna was already sitting in the booth when I walked into the small diner. She looked exhausted, hair pulled back carelessly, dark circles under her eyes, fingers wrapped tightly around a mug of untouched coffee. When she saw me, relief flickered across her face, followed by guilt. "I didn't know she called the school," she said before I'd even sat down. But it sounded like something she'd do. I didn't respond right away. I wanted her to speak freely, not flinch under pressure. She took a shaky breath. "Mom's been pressuring me for weeks. About money. About you. She kept saying it was your responsibility, that you owed it to the family because you were doing better than the rest of us." I felt something in my chest twist. Not surprise, not anger, just a tired confirmation of everything I'd finally stopped denying. "She was furious when you closed the account," Jenna continued, "not because of me, because she didn't want to step in herself. She said you were abandoning us, that Lucas was pulling you away from the family." Her eyes lifted to mine. I didn't believe her. Not anymore. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders loosened. "What do you need, Jenna?" I asked. She swallowed hard. "Help. Real help. Not strings-attached help." Her voice broke. "I don't want Mom involved anymore." I nodded. "Then we'll do this on our terms. Mine and yours. No more accounts she can access, no messages through Mom, no credit given to her." Relief washed over her face like a tide. She nodded quickly, almost desperately. "Yes, please." That moment didn't fix everything, but it pulled something heavy off both of us. For the first time, Jenna and I weren't playing roles in our mother's family script. We were writing our own. Months passed quietly, almost suspiciously quietly. No drama, no cryptic posts, no late-night calls. Jenna and I talked often, sometimes about bills, sometimes about the kids, sometimes just about nothing at all. Lucas joked that it felt like the calm after a tornado. But calm never lasts long in a house built on control. One Thursday afternoon, while Lucas was picking up our kids from school, I got a message from Jenna. "Call me right now." Her voice shook when she answered. "Mom picked up my daughter from school. Twice this week. Without permission." For a moment, the world stopped turning. "What?" I whispered. "How?" "She told the office that I was overwhelmed and that you approved it," Jenna said. They believed her because she sounded so sure, so rehearsed. A cold fury settled in my veins. "She used the kids again," I said. "Just like Easter. Just like the anonymous report. She's escalating." Jenna exhaled shakily. "I went to the school today. I signed a written notice that Mom is never allowed to pick her up again." I confronted her afterward. "And?" "She called me ungrateful," Jenna said bitterly. "Then she said you've poisoned me too. She said I'm choosing the wrong side." I closed my eyes. "She's not angry because she's losing us. She's angry because she's losing control." Jenna was quiet for a long time before she whispered, "I'm done, Judy. I'm really done this time." In the following weeks, she prepared to move to a better school district. Lucas and I helped her pack boxes in silence. We loaded her car and mine, then Melissa's. No Facebook posts, no forwarding address, no announcements. Just a quiet exit from a lifetime of manipulation. The day we closed her apartment door for the last time, Jenna held her daughter close and whispered, "We get to start over now." For the first time, I saw resolve in her eyes. Not fear, not confusion, but strength. 3 weeks passed. No calls, no emails, no guilt trips, only a few bitter posts from my mom about children who abandon their roots, but not a single real attempt to contact us. My kids were thriving. Lucas and I felt lighter. Jenna was settling into her new place, sending pictures of her daughter smiling in her new classroom. One night, as I tucked my children into bed, Lily asked, "Mommy, are we seeing Grandma soon?" I sat next to her and brushed her hair off her forehead. "Not right now," I said gently. "Grandma needs time to learn how to treat people with respect." "Will she learn?" she asked. I paused. "I hope so," I said truthfully. "But whether she does or doesn't, we're safe. We're okay." Later, as I stood in the hallway, Lucas wrapped an arm around me and rested his chin on my shoulder. "You did the right thing," he murmured. "I know," I said. "I just wish the right thing didn't have to hurt so much." He kissed my temple. "Sometimes the thing that hurts the most is the thing that finally sets you free." I looked at our kids sleeping peacefully, our home quiet and steady around us, and I realized something profound. I hadn't lost a family. I'd simply stopped letting one person define it. The final line had been crossed, and for the first time in my life, I didn't look back.